Good morning and welcome to the Take Your Life Back Today show. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach, life coach, and the host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today show. We just, in our last episode, talked about what is sexual harassment. So now I want to talk about sexual harassment, myths, and reality. The first myth is sexual harassment is rare. Folks, the fact is sexual harassment is extremely widespread. It touches the lives of 40 to 60% of working women and similar proportions of female students in colleges and in universities. Another myth, the seriousness of sexual harassment has been exaggerated. Most so-called sexual harassment is really trivial and harmless flirtation. The fact is, sexual harassment can be devastating. Studies indicate that most harassment has nothing to do with flirtation or sincere sexual or social interest. Rather, it is offensive, often frightening, and insulting to women. Myth: many women make up and report stories of sexual harassment to get back at their employers or others who have angered them. Fact is, research shows that less than 1% of complaints are false. Women rarely file complaints that are false. Women, they only file complaints when they are truly being sexually harassed. Another myth, women who are sexually harassed generally provoke harassment by the way they look, dress, or even behave. Fact is, harassment does not happen because women dress proactively or initiate sexual activity in the hope of getting promoted or advancing their careers. Another myth is, if you ignore harassment, it will go away. Fact is, it will not. Research has shown that simply ignoring the behavior is ineffective. Harassers generally will not stop on their own. Ignoring such behavior may even be seen as agreement and encouraging the person harassing. There are many different types of sexual harassment. Let's go through a couple of them. Gender harassment, generalized sexist statements and behavior that convey insulting or degrading attitudes about women themselves. Examples include insulting remarks, offensive graffiti, obscene jokes, or humor about sex or women in general. Another one is seductive behavior. Unwanted, inappropriate, and offensive sexual advances. Examples include repeated, unwanted sexual invitations, insistent requests for dinner, drinks, or dates, persistent letters, phone calls, and other invitations. Another one is sexual bribery, solicitation of sexual activity or other sex-linked behavior by promise of reward. The proposition may be either overt or subtle. Another one is sexual coercion, coercion of sexual activity or other sex-linked behavior by threat, by punishment. Examples include negative performance evaluations, withholding of promotions, threat, or even termination. Another one is sexual imposition, gross sexual imposition, such as forceful touching, feeling, and grabbing, or sexual assault. Of these 5 types of behavior, gender harassment is by far the most common harassment, followed by seductive behavior. The classic forms of sexual harassment, bribery and coercion, are in fact relatively uncommon, while the other forms of sexual imposition happen more frequently than most people even think. Folks, recent court decisions have also found that certain types of offensive visual displays of workplace, such as pornography, can be considered sexual harassment. The defining characteristics of sexual harassment is that is unwanted. It's important to clearly let the offender know that certain actions are unwelcome and they are wrong to even do. There are myths, and then there are facts. Sexual harassment is rare, is a myth. The fact is, 40 to 60% of women have been affected by sexual harassment. A myth is the seriousness of sexual harassment has been blown out of proportion. Most called harassment is really trivial and harmless flirtation. The fact is, fellow friends, sexual harassment can be devastating. Studies have shown that indicate that most harassment has nothing to do with flirtation or sincere sexual social interest. Rather, it's offensive, often frightening, and insulting to women. Another myth was many women make up a report or report stories of sexual harassment, get even with their employer. Fact is less than 1% of all reports are false. Another myth was women who are sexually harassed generally provoke harassment by the way they look, dress, and behave. Folks, the facts are harassment does not happen because women dress provocatively or initiate sexual activity in the hope of getting promoted or advancing their careers. And another myth was if you ignore harassment, it will go away. Folks, the fact is it will not. Research has shown that simple ignoring the behavior is ineffective. Harassers generally will not stop on their own. They need to be stopped. Ignoring such a behavior may even be seen as agreement and or encouragement. There are, I believe there were 5 different types of harassment. You have your general harassment, which is generalized sexist statements and behavior that convey insulting and degrading attitudes about women. Examples include insulting remarks, offensive graffiti, obscene jokes, or humor about sex. The other one is seductive behavior, unwanted, inappropriate, offensive sexual advances. Examples include the following: unwanted sexual invitations, insistent requests for dinner, dates, persistent letters and phone calls, and other invitations. Another one is sexual bribery, solicitation of sexual activity, or other sexual behavior by promise of reward. Proposition may be either overt or subtle. Another one is sexual coercion of sexual activity or other sex-linked behavior by threat of punishment. Examples include negative performance reports, withholding of promotions, threat, and even termination. And the last one was sexual imposition. Gross sexual imposition such as forceful touching, feeling, grabbing, or sexual assault. If you're a victim of sexual harassment, run to your HR department. If they don't help you, go to the Labor Department. It is unacceptable, it is inappropriate in any workplace. Folks, start today by reporting these sexual harassers because they need to be stopped. If you're a father out there or a mother that have daughters, you wouldn't want your kids to be sexually harassed. If you're a student in a college or a university, the sexual harassment even has to stop there. Nip it in the butt while you can. Call me at 844-405-HELP because together we can help each other take our lives back and help each other and prevent sexual harassment from happening in your workplace or at your school or wherever else. Sexual harassment is unwanted, unacceptable, and needs to be put down immediately. Let today be the first day where you stop sexual harassment. And if you're a person out there that goes around sexually harassing people, you need to stop. Your time is coming and it will stop. Stop with the general gender harassment, stop with the seductive behavior harassment, stop with the sexual bribery, stop with the sexual coercion, and stop with the sexual imposition. Sexual harassment is not rare. It's 40 to 60% of women are being sexually harassed, and it comes to an end, and it comes to an end today. 844-405-HELP. Let's help each other stop sexual harassment. And take care, and may God bless you.